They're patriots, and they have to be abused by guys like Don Lemon, who's a loser, lightweight. I saw him the way he walked in that church. It was terrible. I have such respect for that pastor. He was so calm. He was so nice. He was just accosted. What they did in that church was horrible yesterday.
And so some of these folks who did this have self-identified. Don Lemon himself has come out and said he knew exactly what was going to happen inside that facility. He went into the facility and then he began, quote unquote, committing journalism. And as if that's sort of a shield from being an embedded part of a criminal conspiracy.
Like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell to get notifications anytime I go live or make a video. Make sure you still subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment on this video, share this video. Let's get into this. Let's get the Don Lemon juice. Tell me why this guy has become the dumbest person on the internet. The dumbest person on the internet. I want y'all to listen to Don Lemon after he get exposed for participating in a unruly gathering. This is not protesting. It's called an unruly gathering where they're breaking a law at a church. Now he's getting backlash. Potentially he could be charged. And what does he do? He go on a campaign to talk about white supremacy. Roll the clip.
And there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people who are, in the religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice, but I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from.
Time out. What do you mean the Christianity you practice, Don Lemon? What Christianity are you referring to? What planet are you on? If you ask me, there is nothing about Don Lemon that say anything that have anything to do with Christ. First of all, you're married to another man. That right there is not Christ-like. And then your behaviors, right? Your behaviors are also a contributing factor to one believing that you're not a Christian. You don't even talk about Jesus Christ. You don't even stand up for things that are Christ-like. Let him finish.
But I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from a supremacy, a white supremacy. And they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country, when actually we left England because we wanted religious freedom. It's religious freedom, but only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male, pretty much. And so, yeah, I absolutely 100%, but it's an intimidation tactic. And, I said, I don't understand how I've become the face of it when I was a journalist. I do understand that I'm the biggest name there. And I'm also, as I was on with my producers this morning, you and Kylie talk all the time. My producers were saying, I said, how did I become the face of this? And my producer said, Don, you're a gay black man in America.
I don't get these people's obsession with race and gay. To be honest, if Don Lemon didn't flash his boyfriend in front of everybody, I wouldn't even know. Well, I ain't gonna say I didn't know he was gay. He got gay tendencies, but I wouldn't know what he doing in the bedroom. But instead, he flaunting his white supremacist husband. He swear. Now think about this. If Don Lemon is a Christian, I would assume, according to the scripture, you're supposed to be equally yoked. Well, this don't count anyway, but I'm just hypothetically speaking. You married a person, they must be a Christian too. And so you talking about white supremacy, yet you married a white Christian. It's all mixed up. I'm telling you guys right now, I have not tasted a bourbon like this ever in my life. We went through rounds and rounds and rounds and rounds of making sure the taste was right, making sure it was perfect. And I'm telling you, and when you get it and you try it, you will be able to give us a review and let me know if I'm lying. I have never had a bourbon this smooth with this much character that didn't cost hundreds of dollars. So we took a while to produce it. We took a while to get the taste right, but it's on point. Verdict, guilty, which is a straight 6-year aged, or you get not guilty with a hint of brown sugar in it. The best bourbon that I've ever tasted. So make sure, if you're interested, go on. You must be 21 and over, obviously, but you make sure you drink responsibly. We don't do the irresponsible drinking. We don't do the drinking to get drunk and intoxicated. We do the fine dining experience when it comes to bourbon, all right? So all you got to do is go to verdictreservespirits.com, verdictreservespirits.com. We'll put the link in the description section. People are already just going ham. I mean, hundreds of people have already pre-ordered. Should be available later this month. We'll start shipping them out. But I'm telling you, the best on the market, and it's $59.99. I could talk about this the whole show. But y'all go get you some Verdict and let me know which one you like the most, the guilty or not guilty. Hey, how do you talk about white people so bad, but you laying up with one every night? Make it make sense to me. And this whole thing about being gay and black in America, nobody gives a flying flip who you smashing at night. Just be a good person. I don't understand where everybody get lost in this. Nobody cares, bro, that you know what I'm saying, that you want the man on top of you every night. But just be a good, decent human being. But what they do is because to overcompensate for their terrible behavior, they have to start throwing out insults. But let's add another clip, because this is a contribute, like what we used to do when I was a cop is when you did a crime in front of a kid, we considered it to be contributing to the delinquency of a minor. What Don Lemon is doing every time he do an interview is contributing to the delinquency of his foolery. It's like an aggravated exposure to how stupid he is. All right, let's play Don Lemonhead real quick. And Cam Higby just took him to the cleaners. Roll the clip.
The president is not an immigrant.
He's a second-generation immigrant.
He's a descendant of an immigrant. But
He's a second-generation immigrant.
Okay, that's like saying
His
I'm
wife
an
is a
enslaved
first-generation
person.
immigrant.
You would say that I'm an enslaved person.
No, it's not,
I'm a
because you're
descendant
not
of an
2
enslaved-
generations away from an enslaved person.
How do you know?
Because nobody was enslaved 2 generations ago.
Yes, they were. There were people who were enslaved and indentured servants 2 generations ago.
There was
You
not
go to the
chattel
South and
slavery
see-
2 generations ago.
Slavery was abolished like what, 200 years ago?
My mother was born in the 40s. My grandmother was born in the early 1900s, and before that,
Okay,
those
was she a
descendants
slave?
were slaves.
Were either of them a slave?
Yes, no, but my
No,
great
no,
grandmother, my great grandmother was a slave.
No, they're not. Donald Trump is a
Oh
second
my God,
generation
you're going to tell me what my great grandmother was a
She
slave?
wasn't a chattel slave.
How you're qualifying what slavery is?
How are you how are you qualifying what slavery is? Don Lemon, just admit you don't know what you're talking about. You just stupid. You said 2 generations ago. You didn't say 3, 4, 5 generations ago. You said 2 generations ago that your grandmother was in chattel slavery. What, like, I don't get what the obsession is. These people are just silly, man. Let's go on. We got a couple more clips I want to get to. Don Lemon Juice, and I love this brother right here. Like like when I see smart black people, it makes me excited and happy. And I'm very grateful to God that there's still some of us out here left. Because it seems like almost every black person you see that's a star on television, I don't know what Kool-Aid they drinking. But they seem to all be falling for whatever the propaganda is. But here's a brother that got common sense. And I said this yesterday, that Don Lemon would never go into a mosque and do what he did. He'll never in his life go into a mosque and claim to be a Muslim knowing he laying up with a man every night. But let's see what the brother say right here. Roll the clip.
Yeah, Don Lemon knew better than to go to a black church. He would have
Facts.
never tried that.
Facts.
It would have been a totally different scenario that would have happened. Totally different outcome. Because we don't play about stuff like that. You're not going to come in and you think he would have got an interview? Are you kidding me? He wouldn't have got past the aunties at the front. They would have shut that down. He's not even getting in through the front door. Yeah, we don't play that. In the name of Jesus, he wouldn't have got in. You're talking about dudes reformed from the streets, giving the testimony aunties never gave up on them. You're gonna assert yourself into that situation, bro. I'm scared to have my phone on ring when I'm at church. It's just a different atmosphere, you know. I don't even want to say what would have happened that day, but a lot of righteous indignation would have went down. We would have righteously indignated that whole situation, shut it all down. You think he's gonna lean into a black pastor? He's gonna lean in like that, tell him, hey, don't touch me, and lean in on him with his auntie watching in the front row? You think he's gonna do that? bro, I would pay pay-per-view. I would pay to see that. Don Lemon knew better. He would have never done that, bro. He knows. He's not dumb.
Let me tell you this real quick before we go to the other clip, but Donald Trump actually responding to Don Lemon Juice. But before we get to that clip, he is 100% correct. My church, I went to Emmanuel Grace Apostolic Church, Holiness Church. Women didn't even wear pants at the church. And our pastor had an armor bearer. And I don't know if y'all know what armor bearers are, but like our pastor, and I was an armor bearer for a short period of time. I was in training, so I did armor bearer stuff for a little bit. But that's like the pastor's right-hand man and almost like doubled as the pastor's bodyguard. So when the pastor's preaching, his armor bearer is standing next to him or standing off to the side. If somebody approached the pastor, the armor bearer is going to take care of business. 100%. That's what I would have done. I protect the pastor. You're not going to approach the podium. You're not going to approach my pastor. You will get whooped. You will get spanked in the house of the Lord. We're going to have to throw holy water on you and drag you outside. We'll put some holy water on your wounds. Just drop it in there. He bleeds. Put a towel on him. Put a blanket over you. Furniture moving. I remember a guy acted up in our church. I may have said this to y'all yesterday. It was like, what? Every man in the church came around him. Some was in the front and the side. He was drunk. And we like, bro, these outbursts, you can't do that in here. You do it one more time, we're going to put you out. He tried to resist a little bit. Yeah, we threw him out. If he hadn't have gave up, we would have threw him down the stairs. But he relinquished his power, and we helped escort him down. We would have threw him on the curb, head bumped and everything. All right. Let's get to Donald Trump's response to Don Lemon Juice. Roll the clip.
So this is what the people are trying to protect, because all ICE wants to do is get them out of our country, bring them to prisons and jails and mental institutions from where they came. That's all they want to do. They're patriots, and they have to be abused by guys like Don Lemon, who's a loser, lightweight. I saw him the way he walked in that church. It was terrible. I have such respect for that pastor. He was so calm. He was so nice. He was just accosted. What they did in that church was horrible yesterday.
And you know what's funny, man? You know the thing that bothers me right now that I know is going to make me even more upset is there's dumb, fake Christians that right now are justifying what happened at another church where people were accosted. Every church in America on Sunday morning and on Wednesday night, if y'all go to a real church and they got Bible study, they should be talking about the fact that this is unacceptable. I don't care what side of the aisle you are on. Somebody is working for ICE and you go and bombard their church during service and commit crimes. But Don Lemon didn't stop with running in the church, running his mouth, talking about white supremacy, although he laying up with a white man, working for nothing but white people. I bet his producer's white. But all he doing is pumping white supremacy. Then he goes after Nikki. Come on, let's put Nikki's tweet on the screen. Nicki Minaj. Now we gotta pray for Nikki, because the hood came out a little bit, and she said somebody put emoji over there. She didn't put the emoji there. Her original thing had a cuss word in there, or maybe not a cuss word, but a descriptive word of a pee-pee. She put in there. So Don Lemon, pee-pee. You can read. I don't need to read that to y'all. She said, "How dare you? I want that thug in jail. He would never do this to any other religion. Lock him up." So what does the gay man do? This is what he does. And I'm not saying every gay dude is like this, but the weird ones like him, this is what they do. Let's show him his response. I think we got clip 202. Look at him responding. Just like his daddy wasn't there. Roll the clip.
So people have been asking me about
responding to Nicki Minaj's unhinged, homophobic tweet about me. I usually don't respond to this stuff, but let me just say this. Nicki Minaj, stop talking about shit for which you know nothing about. This is you're out of your depth, by the way, and you are a homophobic bigot. You don't care about African Americans. You're not an African American. From what I know, you are reportedly an undocumented citizen, so you should be deported under Donald Trump's rules. And the other thing is that your family members, you have one family member who is reportedly a sex offender, the other family...
Time out. When they don't like what you say, now she ain't African American. Negro, you ain't an African American. You ain't never been to Africa. You know the dudes that come over here now that are from Nigeria and they're straight African blood, no mixing. They come from Nigeria, they come from other places, other countries that are on the continent of Africa. They are Africans. And when they become Americans, they are African American. You're not an African American, bro. I ain't never been to Africa. I got my DNA comes from Nigeria and all kind of other places. So how do I just claim Nigeria and not claim the European places where some of my bloodline came through? Quit being stupid. Don Lemon, put him on the screen. Don Lemon, you light-skinned. You cannot tell me that you ain't mixed up with something. You light-skinned, bro. You ain't straight from the continent. You light-skinned. Somebody mixed somewhere, massa, or somebody mixed up with you and your family bloodline somewhere, bro. Have you been to Africa? You see the brothers in Africa? They black. They kind of blurple. A little bit of purple in there. You light-skinned, bro. You mixed. All right. Come on. Was that it? Now let him finish real quick, and we got breaking news. Let him finish.
Remember, your husband or whatever, a sex offender is your husband, and one of them is reportedly a pedophile, and you have nerve to talk about me and what you think that I do? Nicki Minaj, get a life. Stop being a pick-me. You should have put a pick-me doll on that damn tweet instead of a Chucky doll, because you are nothing but a pick-me. And I choose not to pick you. And so should black people and so should gay people. Shouldn't buy your music.
Of course you ain't gonna
Clock
pick her.
that.
Of course you ain't no picker because you like pee-pee. You little weirdo. Quit trying to act like you so high and mighty and you act like you the virtuous one. You to be honest, you the weird one out of the two of y'all. And like I don't understand how people grandstand. Like, you need to humble yourself. Because to be honest, you can talk about Nicki Minaj and her relationships, but bro, you sleeping with a man every night. Do you understand how biologically that don't make sense? God made you with a one-way street. You only go one way down the street. Y'all going back up. Don Lemon, at some point you gonna have to get surgery or something. Y'all not ain't supposed to be doing it like that. God didn't make you like that. So quit trying to act like you all virtuous, claim you a Christian, and acting like you somehow the standard of a relationship. I mean, you were wearing a diaper after a while. All right. People think I'm playing. Go look at the research. Men that be doing that stuff like that, they mess their stuff up. And they can't even hold, they you know what I'm saying?